Hello, this is Dr. Paul Cottrell, and I'm recording this on November 24th. I'm going to be doing a short recording here before I do my recording with John. Hopefully, I can get spaces going live while we're doing the recording with John Hogue, so you can listen in. We're probably not going to take questions during that, but at least you can listen in. Please help support my work by going to my website, the-studio-reykjavik.com. I've added 2 new features to my website. Those 2 new features are you can play podcasts, the audio recording of them on my website. I just started populating that. And I also have a live feed. So when I do a live broadcast, there will be a live feed on my website. So you can watch the live feed on YouTube. I'll have 2 channels on YouTube that will have the live feed. One will be a screen like this. The other will have the telemetry of the market, what I call the dashboard. So if you want to watch the dashboard version, you can do that. And on my website, you'll have that live feed that you can watch, very similar to this. So you can watch me that way. I'll also take calls through Spaces. So this is like a call-in show that I'm going to try to be doing every morning. Hopefully, you can participate if you can. So please help support that way by joining into those live broadcasts. Also buy the products that I offer on my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. The link is in the description of this video and all my videos. It's the-studio-reykjavik.com. I have many products to offer. I have ebooks, I have supplements, I have medical lecture classes that you can learn a lot about pulmonology and immunology, lots of stuff. I've curated boxes for anti-aging and longevity that you can purchase and move forward with your improving your health and your anti-aging journey. Anyone can do this. So please help support my work. Ask your social media to follow me. I'm heavily censored on YouTube. They bleed me of subscribers. I'm not the only one this is happening to. They are trying to censor and reduce the reach on YouTube. So I'm hitting a lot of different channels. I have YouTube, Brighteon, Bitchute, and Rumble. Make sure you follow me on all those channels. You can help support my work by purchasing the products and also donating. You can donate through Stripe, PayPal, and buy me a coffee on my website, or you can be a paid member to my Patreon channel. I have thousands of videos for free that I have made over the years. All right. It is through the help of individuals purchasing the products and donating on Stripe, PayPal, and buy me a coffee and being a paid member to Patreon that helps me do this. All right. If it wasn't for the audience, I wouldn't be doing this. So please help support my work by purchasing the products. I'm trying to set up a system where when there's breaking news that we're going to be able to cover it and I can get your feedback in real time. All right. I believe that starting in 2025, we're going to have some crazy stuff happening. And you're going to need to follow me and participate in this wonderful journey that we're going to be embarking on. So please make sure you follow me, participate, do the call-ins, and also purchase the products and share the links. I really do need the help. So with that, please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Before I plug some products, we're also going to be going over some videos in this video. So, but I want to plug some products because I didn't do enough plugging last video. I have great structural nanosilver drops. I have it in cherry. I have it in blueberry and in honey and lime. These structural nanosilver drops you need to take during the cold season. Once you have that irritation, or during the allergy season, once you have that irritation, take the drops right away, neutralize that irritant, maintain that mucosal barrier, and mitigate further infection. It's a great way to, you know, slow down, you know, whatever's happening during the cold season. Get a couple bags for your household. Be prepared. I think that there will be there'll be an uptick in cases in December and January. So, you know, you should be prepared. So please go to the store and get some great structural nano silver drops that I have in the 3 flavors that I have to offer. Get a couple bags, help support my work and help support your health. In addition, I have structural nano silver gels. And these gels, I have it in 2 different types. I have it in the quick dispenser. I also have it in the tube form. They work the same way. They're dual purpose. It helps to heal the skin because of a cut or an abrasion or a minor burn. You can heal it in about 1/3 the time. In addition, reduce the healing time by 1/3. You can put it on your skin. Put it on your skin before you go to bed, exfoliate in the morning, and your skin will be clearer and your skin will be tighter, especially around your face. In addition, this will neutralize pathogens. Put it on your hands, around your mouth, around your nose, around your ears, around your eyes. Lightly coat your nostrils, stays active for 5.5 hours. It's a dual purpose product. It's a very high quality product. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, get it in the dispenser form or in the tube form. Go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. And lastly, I have great toothpaste. This structural nano silver toothpaste whitens your teeth, freshens your breath, neutralizes pathogens, maintains a good gum barrier, gum line. In addition, it reduces inflammation. And by having a good oral hygiene, you're going to reduce cardiovascular disease and valvular disease. A lot of people don't understand that when you get older, when you have poor oral hygiene, you're increasing the chances of cardiovascular disease and valvular disease. Please take my advice. Go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Take this structural nano silver toothpaste. It's a very high quality toothpaste. Get a few tubes for your household. Help support my work and help support your oral hygiene and your cardiovascular health. Please go to my store and get the toothpaste. It's a very high quality toothpaste. No fluoride, structural nano silver, and neutralize those pathogens. All right, we're going to go to this is Fox that was published about 5 hours ago.
We're in the midst of talking to the senator about his new policy proposals for the incoming Senate. But for now, we're going to move on. Still got Senator Fetterman with us now. I think we're going to move on to him until we get Senator Brasso's feedback. Democrats are hoping to find new footing in the wake of crushing electoral losses earlier this month. Here's Wall Street Journal columnist Peggy Noonan on the Democrats' very real struggle right now.
They ought to be thinking about the meaning of their party right now. That party had stood, I think, on 3 pillars. One, it was the party of the little guy. The other is that it was the party of anti-war. The other is it was the party of very generous spending. But the Trumpian Republican Party has taken those issues, at least for now.
So let's bring in Democratic Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman. Sir, very excited to talk to you. Thank you for jumping in when Senator Brasso's feed has gone down on short notice. Noonan there offers the perspective that the Trump GOP has sort of usurped some of the founding cornerstone pillars of the Democratic Party. Do you think she has a point?
Yeah, well, one area where we kind of lost ourselves was the border. And I've been on this network, months ago saying, hey, it can't be controversial for our party to be pro-immigration, but we need a secure border. And with we need a secure border. And when we ask or demand people to not believe what they see and see those kind of numbers, that's not a problem, it's like, well, then you lose about that 100%. I've tried to describe you have up to 300,000 people encounters per month. And I put that in perspective with Pennsylvania. I'm like, that's the size of Pittsburgh showing up in 1 month. It's like, what's going to happen for those folks? If we want them, the American dream for those people, how can we possibly deliver that? Where do they go? And we can't pretend that that's not a significant issue, and we got to address that. So another issue like that, I don't think that's about endless wars. I think they're two very just wars. I think Israel, for example, that's a very just one. And now I've never supported a ceasefire, and that was the right thing. I said I was going to follow Israel. And since they've refused to have that ceasefire, they have eliminated and broken Hamas and Hezbollah. Hezbollah was supposed to be like the ultimate badass in the Middle East. And now they were just a bunch of Keystone cops. And Iran has been exposed as just, they really can't fight about anything. So that's been a significant development here. And now also I'd like to point out, Israel had blown up their nuclear weapons lab as part of that too. So, and with respects for Ukraine, Ukraine was invaded. And for me, it's about standing on the side of democracy. And I was very supportive about that aid. And I don't understand if the other side would now stop the delivering that kind of aid. That's a disagreement, but I've been very, very clear supporting Israel and Ukraine.
You have, sir. And while you're on the topic of Israel, your colleagues voted down this Bernie Sanders bill this week to stop supplying weapons to Israel. The new incoming administration is touting their foreign policy national security team as the most pro-Israel in modern history. Wondering if you agree with that.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, it was a pleasure to vote a big no on all those threes with my colleague from Vermont. I don't understand why anybody would bring that to the floor, but hey, if they want to go down, 80, 18, 19, that's up to you. But in terms of the incoming administration, I actually like what I see in terms of being a very, very strong pro-Israel for that. And I fully support that through that too. And when the administration will change, my vote and voice won't change either, and that's going to follow Israel through that. And they have made a magnificent kinds of progress on the process of generating longer-term peace by destroying Hamas, Hezbollah, and just demonstrating that Iran really, doesn't have the kind of capability to deliver any kinds of damage.
You indicated, Senator, this week, at least it seems to me, correct me if I'm wrong, that you're open to supporting two of Trump's cabinet nominees so far, Marco Rubio for Secretary of State and Dr. Mehmet Oz for the CDC. Is there anybody else on his cabinet list that you think you might get behind? And then on the other side, is there anyone on your sort of over my dead body list?
Yeah, well, and again, of course, I'm a fan of my colleague from Florida, and I'm going to enthusiastically going to vote yes for Senator Rubio. And then, with Dr. Oz, I mean, everybody understands that we ran in the same cycle, and it got kind of ugly. And I don't have any kind of bitterness. And I just expressed I'm open to a dialogue, hear what he has to say about these things. I'm not sure why that's controversial to say, hey, I think I saw a great from Bill Maher. He just said, I'm not going to pre-hate. I'm not going to pre-hate a lot of these things. And I'm not going to pre-hate this. I'm going to have an open conversation for anyone that I'm open to having part of that conversation. And there's some people that I just couldn't be able to vote for that. And there's some that might be able to enthusiastically vote yes. And like my Senator Rubio or Stefanik, or actually there's a fantastic labor nominee as well too. In fact, a Democratic colleague from the House just texted me and saying, hey, I think she's really strong. And I think that's a great candidate. So I think there's good things there, and there's some things that I can't vote for. But that's what happens when the other team wins. And I don't understand why it's controversial to say, hey, we're going to engage in that conversation. But I also would remind my side that, in the Senate, we're at 53 to 47 with the new administration. So they're going to have the votes at the end of the day.
I think you're talking about Congresswoman Lori Chavez DeRemer for Labor Secretary. There, a clear nod on the Trump administration's part to, pro-union sentiment. When you look ahead, Senator, more generally speaking now, at your party's future, does a clear Democratic leader or a pool of new generation leaders emerge for you? A lot of folks have thought maybe Hakeem Jeffries, but now that, they lost the House, I don't know if he's still in play.
No, I mean, I don't look for like a leader in my party. It's just like, hey, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing here. For me personally,
perhaps, maybe over time, he becomes the leader of his party.
In the House, in the Senate. So, I just want people to understand, before the election, I tried to describe that if Trump wins and if we don't show up, now he's going to get the House and the majority. He's going to in the Senate, and which if that happened, and then now you have the Supreme Court is now in a position with a 6-3 strong conservative slant. So they're going to be able to, a lot of things. And now I wouldn't be surprised if Trump moves to drop the filibuster, and the Senate as well too, because they will have 2 years, they'd have 2 years to essentially run everything through.
Senator, we love talking to you. Thank you for coming on with us as always, and look forward
I
to
think he's
seeing you.
becoming the pallbearer of the centrists of the Democratic Party. And maybe, he might be one of the key people to be that mezzanine between the Republicans and the Democrats. It's possible. It's amazing how he's recovering from the stroke. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and help support my work. I've partnered up with Rainbow Herbals, and we've developed these great deodorant bars. They're made from essential oils from the Himalayas, very high quality deodorants, and they're dual purpose. You can use them as a deodorant, but by using them every day, you can slightly detoxify your body. So peppermint, lavender, and tea tree, and also citrus. So these deodorants are for males and females. Get a couple bars for your household. They're very high quality. Help support the channel, help support my work, and help support your health by getting these deodorants, the-studio-reykjavik.com. The link is in the description of this video. I sell C60, and it's part of the third pillar of my anti-aging protocol. Neutralize pathogens, bring down inflammation, and then take strong antioxidants. C60 is a very strong antioxidant, very potent antioxidant. Take a teaspoon a day. I have it in 3 different versions. I have it in extra virgin olive oil, MCT coconut oil, and also avocado oil. C60 is a molecule. It has to be suspended in a lipid. That's why it's in an oil. And what will happen is that C60 will get into your cells and soak up those free radicals. Those free radicals does damage to your cells and your mitochondria by soaking them up. By soaking up those free radicals, those cells will perform better and your mitochondrial health will improve. That means your ATP will go up. You're going to have more energy for your muscles, more energy for your cells and your tissues, more energy for your immune system. Really important. So please go to my store, get the C60, take a teaspoon a day. It's part of my anti-aging protocol. In addition, you can get it in a 2-ounce, a 4-ounce, or an 8-ounce configuration. The higher the ounce configuration, the cheaper it is per ounce. So it behooves you to get a 4 or 8 ounce than just the 2-ounce. It's actually cheaper per ounce. But please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Please take this. This is really important. This is a very strong antioxidant, a major part of the anti-aging pillar to help boost up your immune system, improve your endocrine system, improve the tissue health by soaking up those free radicals. Please go to my store and get the C60. And lastly, NAD+, really important to take. It boosts up energy levels. It helps to heal your DNA because when you get older, you build up DNA damage, and our cells can repair some of that DNA damage. But as we get older, the DNA damage builds up to the point where the body it's having a hard time being able to repair it. Well, NAD+ helps to repair the DNA damage. So you boost up your energy levels. It's helping to repair DNA damage, and it also it helps to improve the health of your neurons. Really important when you get older. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the NAD+. Take it every day. Go to the store and get NAD+. It's the-studio-reykjavik.com. Link is in the description. of this video. All right, I want to play what let's see what Jamie Raskin has to say on MSNBC or in was this MS? Yeah, MSNBC.
When you are worried about giving gifts, you might as well consider a unique and creative flying hoverboard. This magical toy can not only fly out, but also return automatically, bringing you endless fun and challenges. Whether gifting,
of course.
So
Of
I know
course.
it might not seem like it or feel like it, but Matt Gaetz' very short-lived ride as the pick for Attorney General actually did teach us some very important lessons. I mean, for starters, it reminded us that the vetting process for cabinet members is kind of important, and that probably shouldn't be breaking news to anyone. I mean, given it's a process that presidential transitions of both parties have engaged in for decades. I mean, for anyone who has been through it before, it can feel a bit like an
You know what? Maybe we need people elevated to the cabinet positions in important department heads that it's not been inculcated by the deep state.
invasive exam. Call it a colonoscopy, call it a root canal, call it whatever you want to call it. But my point is that it's just not exactly pleasant. I mean, typically the transition team asks you everything about your background. They ask about your clients, your financial records, your personal life, and you're put through an FBI background check, which often involves the FBI even calling your friends and family and asking them even more questions. Then you go through hours of interviews about what they find with a team of lawyers. That's just some of what typically happens before you were even offered one of these top jobs that require Senate confirmation. And that makes sense because they are some of the most important jobs in our government. Now, of course, as we now know, and maybe you're not surprised by it, Donald Trump is taking a bit of a different approach. And as we saw this week, that can come with certain consequences. There are consequences for Trump himself if his picks don't get confirmed. For Senate Republicans who can be put in an awkward spot as things pop out in the press they weren't aware of. And more importantly, for the American people, if a number of these picks manage to get through people we know very little about. I mean, consider the new details about Gaetz that were unearthed this week. Like this document obtained by the New York Times showing a web of payments Gaetz made, including thousands of dollars to two women who testified that he hired them for sex. Gaetz continues to deny the allegations, but that steady drip of highly damaging information.
He's already stepped down from the nomination, so why keep on rehashing it? Oh, why don't we rehash the over $800,000 hush money payment by Bill Clinton? Well, we don't want to talk about that. He's no longer president.
Forced him.
You know, that's water under the bridge, right?
Bid after just 8 crazy days. And then there's Pete Hegseth.
See, they want to demonize Pete.
That were released this week detailing an allegation of sexual assault from 2017. Now, Hegseth was never charged and denies any wrongdoing, but this report paints a pretty vivid and pretty horrifying scene where a woman remembers saying no a lot as Hegseth took her phone, physically blocked her from leaving a hotel room, and sexually assaulted her. She later went to the hospital and also underwent a rape kit exam. Trump's transition team was reportedly completely blindsided by these new details. But again, one surefire way to not be blindsided by things like that is to put your nominees through an actual vetting process. And then there's Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, this week CNN reported that she was briefly placed on a government watch list that prompts additional security screening before flights after her overseas travel patterns and foreign connections triggered a government
Well, let's
algorithm.
demonize Tulsi because she must be a stooge for Russia and Iran. I'll tell you, this government needs serious restructuring
This year. And that comes as questions continue to swirl about her secret meeting in 2017 with Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad and about her pro-Russia, pro-Putin rhetoric. And now, surprise, surprise, Republican senators want access to her FBI file to see if there's more unknown information about her, including possible other foreign contacts. Again, the person I just described is Donald
but they're doing an investigation. If there was anything that was really harmful, why didn't they charge her? See, they just want to dig stuff up. They'll say, well, someone at the FBI wanted to investigate her because, maybe there was some sort of Russia collusion. And, and then they put it out in the media and say they were investigating her, so she must be at fault. They just want to demonize her to prevent her from elevating to a position where she is in the power to restructure the deep state. See, they want to only elevate people that have been inculcated into their system, that have been compromised or captured, and just toe the line of the national security state. While Trump is trying to bring in people to restructure it, to make it more efficient and less corrupt. But let's just demonize Tulsi, right? Maybe she's going to circle back with some real facts. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the probiotics. You can get it in the powdered form, which is what I take every day during my lunch, and also in the veggie cap form. Taking a probiotic every day is going to help to bring down inflammation in your gut, help to improve your metabolism and your digestion. In addition, it'll help to improve the communication between your gut and your liver and your gut and your brain. A lot of people don't realize that you can, depression can happen because of poor gut and also mental acuity. So if you improve your gut, you're improving your mood and you're improving your mental acuity. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Improve your gut health by taking these probiotics. Go to the store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Vitamin B complex, really important for cellular metabolism. The first few B vitamins are really important for the electron transport chain for the mitochondria. So you build up more ATP, really important. And when you get older, you need to take vitamin B complex to improve your neuron health. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and take the vitamin B complex. It's better to take care of your neurons now than later. Trust me. You don't want, as you go into your geriatric years, having neurological problems. Myotrol, really important for building up muscle, maintaining muscle mass, and improving your mitochondrial health. Noticing there's a theme here, all right? When you also work out, you can take Myotrol to get muscle gains and improve your fitness, and also to improve your recovery time after your workout, because lignans brings down inflammation and is an antioxidant. So Myotrol, again, helps you to build muscle and to maintain muscle and to improve the mitochondrial health. And it's very important when you're older to do that. Once you get about age 40, you need to start taking supplementation to maintain muscle mass and do a little bit of weight resistant training, a little bit of cardiovascular training, really important. You don't have to go overboard. Proper supplementation and proper diet and exercise can go a long way to improving your health. Trust me on this. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, get the Myotrol, improve your muscle mass and your skeletal muscle structure, especially when you're 40 years old and beyond. Multivitamin. This multivitamin is easy to digest. In addition, these are cofactors for enzymatic activity. You need these cofactors for proper cellular processes. Go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Take this easy to digest multivitamin as a daily routine to improve your health. Let's see what Saki has to say.
Pick for the Director of National Intelligence of the United States of America. Now, trust me, these are all things that would have come up in a typical vetting process. These are all questions that would have been asked and answered to some degree. And look, let's be honest, maybe Donald Trump would have moved forward with all these nominees regardless. We don't know that. These are all things that the Senate, and most importantly, the public, deserve to know about the people who are going to serve in incredibly important, high-ranking government roles. And really, the only reason we know any of it right now is because of the press. Trump is clearly not going to do his due diligence. He's not going to ask the questions. He's not going to require the vetting or the FBI background checks. So if he won't do those things, journalists have to. I mean, without a free press, we wouldn't know about Gates's Venmo payments, Hegseth's police report, or Gabbard's time on a government watch list. Because of the free press, we learned a whole lot about these people that we didn't know even 1 week ago. Here's the important part. There's still a lot that we don't know. And that is kind of
Before we voted for Biden in 2020, maybe the press should have been investigating the Hunter Biden laptop instead of pretending that it was just Russian disinformation. Maybe the FBI should have done their due diligence to find out what the hell was going on with the Biden family. Right? Right, Jen? Right? Let's, maybe.
the other takeaway for me from this week. Matt Gaetz dropping out does not mean Trump's next choice for Attorney General deserves less scrutiny. Does not mean Pete Hegseth or Tulsi Gabbard deserve less scrutiny. It doesn't mean anyone should stop the questions, stop the digging, stop the pressure. It actually means the opposite, because the stakes are so high and there's still so much we don't know about these other cabinet choices. So we need to keep asking the questions. And that goes for reporters, members of Congress, their staff, citizens, all of you sitting at home.
As long as it's not Joe
Here's a
Biden.
good place to start. Just hours after Gaetz dropped out, Trump announced his new pick for Attorney General, Pam Bondi. I don't know, she's not Matt Gaetz. There's only one of that guy. There's still a lot of questions everyone should be asking about her too. Joining me now is Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin. He's a ranking member of the House Oversight Committee. So let me start there, because we've seen this cycle of things happen quite a bit in the past, although this is like an extreme version of it. Pam Bondi is the new nominee to be Attorney General. What should people be asking about her?
Well, one of the functions of, did you know that there's a specific 2,000-year-old Korean food that you can eat to help get rid of your heartburn naturally? And did you know that acid reflux and heartburn affect nearly 1/3 of... Well, one of the functions of doing the background security clearances in the regular vetting process is that the basic facts can be out there, and then we can focus on somebody's ideas,
Yes.
what they've actually done. And so in some sense, all of this scandal serves them pretty well. I mean, if you think about the case of Hegseth, we're focused on the alleged sexual assault that took place with this woman. We're not focused on the fact that he says women should not be allowed in a combat
And we
role.
should be, absolutely.
It's part of a whole gender ideology he has. Now, Bondi, again, we're just piecing together the details now, but she's somebody who...
Let's just focus on Trump and not focus on Biden.
A very loyal Trump partisan, including on election denialism. So she's gone on TV to echo election denialist claims. She has made false allegations about cheating in the 2020 presidential election, which still they adhere to, even though, we have 60 federal.
Is Raskin a statistician? A data scientist? Is he?
Court decisions rejecting all of their fraudulent claims. And she has played that role for Trump all along. So she's a very loyal partisan. So in her case, I think we've got to be focused on what are they going to do with the Department of Justice? Are they going to convert this institution, which has been an implementer of law enforcement and has improved dramatically over time, into the president's personal law firm and an instrument of vendetta and retribution?
This is such an important point, and I've talked a lot about the qualifications piece too. I'm so glad you raised that.
Wasn't the Democratic Party about vendetta during the first Trump administration? Weren't they upset that he won and they had to go after him because they didn't like the idea that maybe someone that wasn't part of the, the deep state cabal might make a disruption, so they had to go after him and make false claims? Maybe this is the reason why Trump doesn't trust the FBI. Think about that. They're only just saying, well, they didn't do a background check. They didn't do a background. You think Trump really trusts the FBI? Could you, if you were Trump, would you trust the FBI? I mean, let's be honest here. The FBI was used against his administration before he was even in office for the first term.
Because the Washington Post is reporting that Donald Trump plans to fire the entire team that worked with Jack Smith, perhaps not a surprise, in the 2 federal cases against him. And they've also said they're going to resign, including career attorneys typically protected from political retribution, all of them. He also plans to redirect DOJ resources to investigate the 2020 election. Pam Bondi is somebody who would be leading the Department of Justice. I'm sure you're horrified by that. I'd love to get your reaction, but I also—
Of course he's horrified by that because he knows where the dead bodies are. The thing is, what's wrong with investigating if there's nothing to hide, right? If they, decide to lift up the carpet and they find that, well, maybe the deep state did something, not only to JFK, but to Donald Trump. Don't you think the public should know about that? Jane Psaki? If the public should know about, payments, for Matt Gates's, prostitution ring, don't you think we should know about what was going on, with the FBI? Don't you think? Circle back and, let me know, all right?
People feel very powerless out there. What can Democrats do if that's where Donald Trump wants to move the resources of the Department of Justice? Is there anything that Democrats can do?
Well, look, the Trump was not elected with any kind of positive agenda for the country. I mean,
What?
his most detailed agenda was around immigration and
It's total
deportation.
bullshit. Total bullshit. Strengthen the military because it's been gutted by the Obama administration. Strengthening our manufacturing because it was gutted by globalization. Give opportunity for the middle class to build businesses. Why? Because the Democratic Party of the cheese and wine wants to demonize flyover country. And he has the audacity to say that shit? Amazing. You know what I should do? I should run for senator, maybe president.
They are already starting to try to alter laws around the country to build in a political advantage. Like in North Carolina, where the Democrats swept a lot of the state constitutional offices, the outgoing Republican state legislature is trying to entrench Republican power, taking powers away from the governor and giving them to the state auditor. And I view what I think we're about to see at the Department of Justice in exactly the same light. They want to go back to all of the lies about 2020, which have been debunked ad nauseum. They want to install people who are going to prosecute the prosecutors, as Bondi has said. And it looks like a completely different kind of institution from the one that has been built up through both Democratic and Republican administrations in the past. So it looks to me like a recipe for nonstop political warfare. I mean, I liken the time I think we're in very much to like 1798 with the Alien and Sedition Acts, where the only program was anti-immigrant hysteria and then prosecution of political enemies and attacks on the other party and attempts to entrench the majority party. That didn't work out so well for the Federalists. And Thomas Jefferson really led the opposition there. And he said to people,
Thanks for the history lesson, Raskin. What we really need is a deep dive on the deep state to understand how they are weaponizing these agencies against the public and against political people, individuals, political opponents. And that's what's happening. And it needs to be investigated. And guess what? He probably was part of it.
a little patience, and we'll see the reign of witches pass over and their spells dissolve, and the people recovering their true sight restore their government to its true principles. So he urged people to have patience, but also to be strong and to persevere through a period like this.
All right. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Get the ubiquinol. This is the most bioavailable CoQ10 that you can get. This is a very high quality supplement. I take CoQ10 every day. I've been taking it for years. It's really important. It boosts up your energy levels, helps with the health of your mitochondria. It's an antioxidant, and it also helps to improve the health of your neurons. It's synergistic with NAD+. Ubiquinol is a great way to get that bioavailability of CoQ10. Please go to my store and get the ubiquinol. I've also added nattokinase to my store. Nattokinase is fibrinolytic, so it'll break up clots. It'll also help to bring down LDL levels and increase your HDL levels. That means it's helping to improve your cholesterol. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Take nattokinase to improve your cardiovascular health. Since we're talking about cardiovascular health, vitamin K2 is a dual purpose vitamin. It helps with bone health, but it also helps with cardiovascular health. K2 you should be taking every day, and it works better if you take vitamin D3 together. Vitamin D3 is a gene expression cofactor. Vitamin D3 also helps to absorb calcium, and it helps to get cells to go into apoptosis if they need to go into apoptosis. When you couple these together, D3 and K2 help to improve your bone health, all right, but also to mitigate further plaque from building up in your arteries, all right? I have this cardiovascular longevity box if you want to take all the supplements for the stack to reduce and mitigate buildup of plaque, all right? But taking these two together are really important. They're synergistic, helps with cardiovascular health and bone health. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. It's what I do every day. It's what you should be doing every day. Why? Because you don't want to have osteoporosis. Why? Because you don't want to have cardiovascular disease. And it is in your power to stop it from happening. All right. It's amazing. It's amazing how these people just demonize Trump. Okay, what's Rand Paul have to say?
This is called a Shishibo cube, and let me show you what it does. Shishibo stands for shape-shifting box, and the more you play with it, the more interesting it gets. This ultimate fidget.
Go now to Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul. He is set to chair the Homeland Security Committee next year, and he sits on the Health Committee. Welcome back to Face the Nation, Senator.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, you are a doctor by training. I want to ask you about some of these health picks. I know that you personally said that you have vaccinated all of your children, but vaccination rates in this country, as you know, are on the decline. Are you at all concerned that elevating individuals who have been publicly critical of some particular vaccines?
I can't even play this. I can't even play this because there's going to be a strike on this channel. That's the crazy crap that's going on YouTube. All right, I'll probably have to edit this, but you know, unfortunately, I can't play this video because of the crazy stuff that goes on YouTube. Amazing, isn't it?
So I know it might not
shut
seem
up.
like it or feel like it, but Matt Gaetz is very short-lived for.
God, I can't stand her voice. It's amazing. It's amazing. Unfortunately, I'll have to, what's going on, John? Loophole. And what's going on? News. Let's see here. Adam Schiff. I wanted Adam Schiff.
So I know it might.
Shut up. Okay, let's play this one.
And joining me now is Democratic Senator-elect Adam Schiff of California. Senator-elect Schiff, welcome back to Meet the Press. Congratulations.
Thank you. Great to meet you.
Yeah, great to have you here. Let's start off by talking about Matt Gaetz. You just heard me talking with Senator Schmidt about this. He's obviously no longer in contention to be Attorney General, but there's still this report swirling around him. The House investigation, the House Ethics Committee has launched this investigation. Details of it started to leak out this week to some members on Capitol Hill. But do you think
that guy's such a piece of shit?
I do think it should be made public. I don't think that when someone decides to avoid the public accountability, they simply leave Congress and make it all go away.
I think that maybe there should have been a thorough investigation of Hunter Biden and the Biden family and how they're on the take with the CCP. Don't you think? I mean, you're an American citizen. Don't you want to know that? Or do you want the Vimeo payments by Matt Gaetz and his hookers?
Paid for that analysis and that report, I think they have a right to see it.
Do you think it will be made public? Do you have any indication?
I don't know. It seems like on a party line basis, Republicans are saying, no, the public has no right to see this. And what's more, we don't want the public to see this. But it underscores to me why the president's lack of background checks for his nominees is flawed. He may have still decided to nominate Matt Gaetz, but if they did a thorough vetting, he may have decided not to. That vetting process, having the FBI review potential nominees, it's not only to protect the public interest, it's to protect the president-elect's interest, to make sure that he's not embarrassed by nominating someone like Matt Gaetz. So I think it shows a flaw in the process that he even got nominated. And perhaps with the respect to Hegseth as well, had a thorough investigation been done, it might have influenced the president-elect's decision to nominate him in the first place.
Let me ask you big pictures. Obviously, President-elect Trump has now said he wants to pick Pam Bondi to serve as his Attorney General. He has swept the battleground states. He won the popular vote. Republicans have control of the House and of the Senate. Do you think that the president-elect should have his picks confirmed?
Well, I think the president has the right to nominate anyone who's qualified, who has good judgment and good character. It doesn't mean he's guaranteed to send approval of whoever he nominates, and some of these nominees are deeply problematic. I'll be interested in the confirmation process. Will Pam Bondi continue to tell the big lie even under oath? Is she going to continue to say that the Justice Department should be prosecuting prosecutors who brought valid evidence before a grand jury found probable cause to believe Donald Trump committed crimes? That's not a basis to go after them. So she's going to have to answer tough questions. Tulsi Gabbard concerns me a great deal, that someone who has...
Yeah, must be Russian collusion. Watch.
Key points, someone who has appeared to make common cause with someone like Bashar al-Assad, who gasses his own people. Someone who has no experience whatsoever, not even on the Intelligence Committee in the Congress, should be running those agencies. So they're going to have tough questions to answer.
Senator-elect Schiff, is there anyone on this list who at this very moment you think you could vote yes on? You could support?
Well, for example, I think Marco Rubio is enormously well qualified for the job for which he's been nominated. I still want to ask questions. I'm not going to completely...
Makes you wonder if Marco is just a Trojan horse.
Judge even him, but he's unquestionably qualified, and there are others as well. But some really stand out for the risk they would present to the American people.
So right now, Senator Rubio would have your vote as a yes?
Well, I'm strongly inclined that way. I don't want to prejudge completely because you never can tell what comes out in the vetting process, but he's unquestionably qualified.
Let's talk about your former colleague who you just mentioned, Tulsi Gabbard. She's been picked as Director of National Intelligence. Just last week, Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz said Gabbard was, quote, likely a Russian asset. Do you share those concerns, or is that overstated?
Well, I wouldn't describe her that way, but what I would say this, she has certainly echoed talking points for the Kremlin. She appeared to have taken Putin's side when he invaded Ukraine. And, you know, her fondness for Bashar al-Assad.
What's wrong with saying that maybe NATO expansion is a bad thing for the world? Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. I've added to my stack NAC. NAC helps to increase your glutathione levels. That's important because it's an antioxidant. It's another antioxidant pathway. It's synergistic with C60. NAC also helps to detoxify your liver and your kidney, especially if you take acetaminophen. And NAC helps to calm down the nervous system. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the NAC. Great to increase your glutathione levels. Bringing down inflammation, really important. It's one of the pillars for longevity and anti-aging and boost up your immune system. Turmeric brings down inflammation. It's also an antioxidant. And ashwagandha root helps to control glucose levels and cortisol levels. All right. When you take them together, it's bringing down that inflammatory response. That's important for your immune system and your cardiovascular system. So it's a dual purpose stack. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Take turmeric and ashwagandha together. And lastly, zeolite. Detoxify your body. What you do with zeolite is you take about 2 drops if you're going to take it every day throughout the whole year. Take about 2 small drops underneath your tongue, drink it with filtered water. It will bind to heavy metals, toxins, and chemicals. It'll allow you to urinate it out in about 6 to 8 hours to detoxify your body. If you only want to detoxify your body maybe once or twice a year, take a few drops, maybe 4 or 5 underneath your tongue, drink it with filtered water, just small drops, 4 or 5 of them. Drink with filtered water each day until you're done with the bottle, and do that once or twice a year. It's up to you, but you can take zeolite, the one I offer on the store, you can take daily, for maintenance throughout the year. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the zeolite. Adam Schiff.
Someone who is gassing his own people calls her judgment deeply into question. So here you have someone with very questionable judgment and no experience. That's not a great recipe for running agencies. And the problem is, if our foreign allies don't trust the head of our intelligence agencies,
our foreign allies don't trust our intelligence. That's lovely. The American people don't trust the intelligence agency. And oh, by the way, talking about gassing your people, what the hell is going on with the chemtrails?
Sharing information with us, and that makes our country less safe. So I have profound concerns about her.
Well, speaking of foreign
I have profound
allies and
concerns about
adversaries,
him.
I want to play something that President-elect Trump said about you when he was a candidate. He called you, quote, more dangerous than foreign adversaries. Take a listen and get your reaction on the other side.
The enemy from within, in my opinion, is more dangerous than China, Russia, and all these countries, because if you have a smart president, he can handle them pretty easily. I get along great with all of them. I handle them. But the thing that's tougher to handle are these lunatics that we have inside, like Adam Schiff, Shifty Schiff.
Senator-elect, when you hear that language, how concerned are you that you will be targeted by President-elect Trump in his second administration?
Well, that's dictator talk. That's how autocrats talk. They want to make their political...
dictator will go after you. But when the deep state goes after you silently as a group, that's not a dictatorship. No. That boy is probably has tried a coup multiple times on Trump. And this person promoted falsely the dossier that the Clinton campaign created. I mean, it's just so crazy. I mean, why doesn't this journalist be a journalist and really push back on him and say what really happened? What we really need, so what's going to happen is that Trump needs to really investigate what happened. I mean, dictatorship talk, yeah, but it's okay for the deep state to ruin people's lives for no due cause and to go after their political opponents. I mean, look at these eyes. Like, you know, he can get away with anything. Fucking asshole.
Position, an enemy, describe them in those terms. But look, I'm not concerned about myself. I'm going to do my job. I'm not going to have his threats intimidate me from doing so. But anytime you have someone, particularly someone who's going to become president of the United States, fawning over dictators, emulating their language, attacking the press, undermining our institutions, yeah, we should be concerned about it, because at the end of the day, it means that the American people will suffer. The American people, I think, voted on the basis of the economy. They wanted change to the economy. They weren't voting for dictatorship. So
Raskin said they only voted because of immigration. So what is it? And they're from the same party. They can't even get their story straight.
I think he is going to misread his mandate if that's what he thinks voters chose him for.
Let me ask you, because there is an effort underway to dismiss both the federal and the state cases that President-elect Trump is facing. Do you believe that that is appropriate? Again, now that he has won office, now that he is going to be in the White House again, the Supreme Court has obviously said that he has immunity for all official acts once he's in office. Do you think these cases should be dismissed?
Yes.
I don't. I think the sentencing and further proceedings in the New York case should be.
No, we don't. We want to
deferred
just
until after.
continue it so we can put a Damocles over Trump throughout his whole administration, so he toes the line of the deep state. Meanwhile, we'll just keep it in the news that he's a bad guy, so the mainstream media doesn't come after us.
His office. And likewise, I think further proceedings in the two federal cases should be deferred until he leaves office, but they should not be dismissed. A jury of Donald Trump's peers found him guilty. He's no less guilty because he won an election. There were two grand juries who found probable cause to believe Donald.
They found him guilty on paying a porn star 34 payments, equaling, I don't know, $150,000 or so, as a legal expense, because his lawyer gave him a bill and he paid the lawyer. So how do you book that on the, you know, in your ledger? I mean, wouldn't that be a legal expense? Maybe you can put a footnote saying for porn stars, but it's still a legal expense. The thing is that the jury was given instructions that were so tailored for conviction. And oh, by the way, if it went to appeals, it most likely would be overturned. But he won't say that.
Trump committed federal crimes. Those cases shouldn't go away simply because he was elected. The presidency is not a get out of jail.
What about the deep state being investigated for the coup they tried? Isn't that a federal crime? Oh, it's only a federal crime if you have a mainstream media pushing for the investigation. But what we have is a mainstream media that's not pushing for the investigation of the federal crimes of the deep state. And he's the poster child.
Card. Instead, they should be postponed for further proceedings until after he leaves office.
All right, I want to turn now to the results of the 2024 election and talk a little bit about what you think may have gone wrong. You joined this program a month before the election, and you talked about Vice President Harris's chances of winning. Take a look at this.
By the standards of today, I think she can win overwhelmingly. Given how divided the country is, overwhelming maybe.
October 6th. October 6th. So they were probably waiting for an October surprise. So if he was so wrong on that, maybe he's really wrong on Trump in general.
100,000 votes or 80,000 votes in these key battleground states. I think that's within her capacity to do. So I think we are well poised to win this thing, but it is still scary close.
Why do you think that Kamala Harris?
You know what's in your cheap protein powder? Well, here to tell us is all-natural fitness athlete Paul Sklar.
All right, let's see what we got. Sucralose, artificial flavor.
Why do you think that Kamala Harris didn't win and win overwhelmingly?
I think Joe Biden's decision to step aside and pass the torch was the right decision. It gave us a chance to win. It didn't give us a guarantee. And I thought she could win. And I thought she could win in all the battleground states. But ultimately, what we saw both in this country and around the world was a very strong anti-incumbent wave that took out both progressives and conservatives.
It was a pro-America wave. We're in the transition to the next 250 years. Now, do we want 250 years of Atlas Shrugged, or do we want, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for the next 250 years? That's what the election was about. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Take the vitamin C. This helps with your skin, but also your immune system. Take it every day. During the cold season, if you're not feeling so well, take a double dose of it. Make sure you drink it with filtered water. Resveratrol. It's an antioxidant. It also helps to get rid of senescent cells. It's synergistic with C60. Resveratrol is something that I've been stacking for many, many years, right? This is also synergistic with ubiquinol. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the resveratrol. And lastly, omega-3. Omega-3 is great to help improve your cardiovascular health. How? Omega-3 brings down LDL levels and increases your HDL levels. That means your cholesterol better, all right? It's also synergistic with olive leaf extract and nattokinase. Hint, hint. So please, go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, take the omega-3 every day, improve your cardiovascular health. Really important to take every day. All right.
And our party became associated with the status quo, and that was too much to overcome. I think the principal issue is the economy, and over years and even decades, it's gotten more and more difficult for people working full time to make a living.
Yeah, no shit.
And until we resolve that, challenge the economy, we may find the presidency is easier to get than it is to keep.
You talk about President Biden's role in all of this. Speaker Emerita Pelosi said that he actually should have stepped aside sooner, that could have made a significant difference in the outcome of this election. Do you agree with the Speaker Emerita?
Well, she has far better political instincts than I do. I think it's difficult because had we gone to a competitive primary, for example, what would the results of that primary been? How ugly and divisive and chaotic would it have been? Very hard to tell in advance. But I do think the Democratic Party has to recognize the challenge we have, which is for too many millions of battleground voters, working people, they don't think we represent them. And we have to make that case anew.
But Senator-elect, do you believe that President Biden bears some responsibility for staying in too long?
Look, I think the entire Democratic Party bears responsibility, myself included, and the former president, and the mounted an effective campaign, and you have to give him credit for that. But the challenge that we have is we need to put forward a bold vision for how we're going to move the economy forward, make the economy work for every American. To me, the existential question is, if you're working hard in America, can you still earn a good living? And too many people doubt that that's possible.
Before I let you go, I do want to ask you about what happened on Capitol Hill this week. Congresswoman Nancy Mace introduced legislation to restrict transgender people from using bathrooms that align with their gender identity. Mace said the move was in response to Congresswoman-elect Sarah McBride, who's of course set to become the first openly transgender member of Congress. McBride has called this an effort to just distract from the real issues, but Johnson has actually been supportive of Nancy Mace. Where do you come down? How do you see this?
I think it is a distraction. We have bigger challenges ahead of us, including the most immediate, which is we don't want the government to shut down. We don't want to default on our debt. we should be focused on those problems.
All right, Senator-elect Adam Schiff, thank you so much for being here.
All right, that's the end of my transmission. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. I'm going to be doing a show with John, and hopefully we'll be doing a live spaces so you can listen in. Thank you for listening, and have a nice day.